is a bargain sale.
A place where a woman ruins one dress to buy another.
Correct. Pay that man $8. Why do men flirt with waitresses?
Because they're playing for big stakes.
Correct. Pay that man $9 because...
It pays to be ignorant. As living proof to all you servicemen and women listening in over there that it does pay to be ignorant, here's another half hour with radio's biggest collection of zanies, the incomparable wit, George Shelton, Lulu McConnell, and Harry McNaughton, and the man who sticks his neck out every week at this time, our moderator, Tom Howard.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, here we are again, ready for another discussion with those disgusting experts in a quiz program entitled It Pays to Be Ignorant. Let me introduce our first expert, a celebrated author, Mr. Harry McNaughton, who has just written a book entitled How to Feed a Horse or Life with Fodder, Mr. Harry McNaughton.
Thank you. I have a poem, Mr. Hart.
I see.
I bought my girl some stockings at the local 5 and 10, and she gave them to her mother. That's the last I'll see of them.
Very clever, Miss McNaughton.
I didn't even get a run for my money.
All right. Next, we have a woman who has so many wrinkles in her face when she goes driving, her husband uses it for a road map. You've all heard of Gravel Gertie. Well, here is her sister, Cobblestone Carrie, Miss Lulu McConnell.
You know, Mr. Howard, I'm tired tonight.
You are?
Yeah, I've been shopping all day.
Yeah?
I bought some stockings, too. But I got to take them back in the morning.
What's the matter? Don't they come up to your expectations?
They didn't come up to my knees.
I see. All right. Next, we have a man whose father was a sculptor, and he's been a chiseler ever since. A man who can't wear a high hat because he has such a low brow, Mr. George Shelton.
You know, Mr. Howard, I just got a letter from my girlfriend. She's still in the service.
That's so.
What did she say, Mr. Shelton? What did she say?
Oh, nothing much. She said she didn't have anything to write it about because the things she's been doing I wouldn't like.
Oh, you wouldn't like, I see.
I wonder what she's been doing that I wouldn't like.
All right, never mind. Think it over. Now, here's the first question. Let's pay attention, see if we can get an answer.
Yes.
The Chicago stockyards are in what famous city?
Oh, Mr. Howard, my cousin was born in Chicago.
Your cousin was born in Chicago.
Yes.
Before the fire?
No, up in the bedroom.
Up in the... Please. The Chicago stockyards is in what famous city?
Mr. Howard, did you say sock or stock?
I didn't say nothing at all about socks, Mr. McNaughton.
Hey, how do you like these socks I have on?
Please.
Oh, I say, Mr. Shelton, they're very very pretty indeed. One is red and the other one is white.
Yeah, and I got another pair home just like them.
One red. Isn't that terrible? Look, the question is not about socks.
I never wear socks. I just paint my legs.
Well, the next time you paint them, sand them over first, will you?
Oh, my word.
The question is, the Chicago stockyards are in what famous city? Did you hear the question, Mr. Shelton?
Yeah, I just got wind of it.
You just... What city is famous for its meat?
Meat? What's that?
What's that? Look. Don't you know what city is famous for its meat?
Hamburg, Mr. Howard. Hamburg, Germany.
No.
With onions.
Never mind. I'll give you a hint. The city was practically destroyed by fire at one time.
Oh, it's too bad, Mr. Howard. How did it happen?
Well, a cow kicked over a lantern in a barn and started a fire.
Oh, really?
No, O'Leary.
Did you say a cow kicked over a lantern?
That's right.
A cow kicked over a lantern.
What are you looking at me for?
Let's get back to the question.
Mr. Howard, did you say at the city it was burned?
That's right. Now, what city is that?
Rome, Mr. Howard, Rome.
Fine.
Rome, New York.
Rome, New York. Right.
That's right, the burning of Rome. It was Rome.
How do you know?
She carried the water bucket.
I did not. I was taking a violin lesson from Neo that night.
Okay.
Say, you know, my brother's house caught fire one day last week.
It did? Oh, my word. I'll bet they were burned up.
Oh, will you cut out the puns? Cut out the puns. What famous city is the Chicago stockyards located in?
Well, Mr. Howard, tell me, is it an American city?
Yes, it is.
What state is it in?
What state? All right, I'll tell you. In the state of Illinois.
Is it on the Chicago River?
Right?
Do they have a baseball team there called the Chicago Cubs?
That's right.
Is the Chicago Stockyards located there?
That's right. Now, what's the name of the city?
Wheeling, West Virginia.
Please. Johnny. Now, as we listen to Harry Salter and his 21 Salt Teens in their salty arrangement of Tico Tico featuring Burley Mills on the harp. Now, here is the next question. What musical instrument does a composer have in mind when he writes the piano concerto?
Yeah. When he writes a what, Mr. Howard?
When he writes the piano concerto.
You don't write a piano, you play it.
Now, wait a minute, then.
Whoever heard of anyone writing to a piano?
Wait a minute.
I say, Miss McConnell, tell me, do you have a piano?
No, she just has the legs. Now, let's get on here. Will
you know anything about music, Mr. McNaughton?
Do I know anything about music? Rather. I knew Duncan. I knew Duncan before he had a fife.
Mr. McNaughton. Mr. McNaughton, you're a moron.
How do you spell it?
I don't know.
Oh, then we're both morons.
We're both morons. What musical instrument does the composer have in mind when he writes a piano concerto?
That's the same question you asked us before.
But you haven't answered it yet.
Well, give us time. Will you give us time? I demand a 12-day truce.
Cut it out, please.
I love music. Music is good for the soul.
It's also good for the heel.
Oh, so you like music, too?
All right, never mind.
You a piano, Miss McConnell?
No, we did have, but it was very old.
Yeah?
We finally used it for kindling wood.
Well, at least you got a few chords out of it.
You got a few chords out of it. Mr. Sheldon, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I think you know I used to play in an orchestra.
Yeah, what instrument did you play?
Well, I used to play the viola, but since I've been married, I've been playing second fiddle.
That has nothing to do with the question.
No, of course. What was the question, Mr.
I
Howard?
told you, please, what musical instrument has the composer in mind when he writes a piano concerto?
Mr. Howard, did you know I was a born musician?
You were a born musician?
Yes, when I was born, I had a clip in my chin, a cord in my neck, and drums in my ears.
Now, that's enough. an even good noise.
Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to say that those four boys are with us again tonight. Ray Porter's Esquires, singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On this farm he had some chicks, E-I-E-I-O. With a chick here and a chick there, here a chick there, chick everywhere, chick. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On this farm he had a big E-I-E-I-O. With an oink oink here and an oink oink there, here an oink there, an oink everywhere, an oink oink. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. F-O-M-B-S-A-C. He had some D-U-C-K-S. Quack, quack here and a quack, quack there. Here, quack there, quack everywhere. Quack, quack, oink, oink here and a oink, oink there. Here, chick there, chick everywhere. Chick, chick. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a horse. E-I-E-I-O. With a neigh here and a neigh there, here, neigh there, neigh everywhere, neigh, quack, here and a oink there. Here, chick there, chick everywhere, chick, chick. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm. On this farm he had a band with a guitar here and a bass fiddle there. Up here, the bass fiddle there, neigh here, the neigh there, quack quack here, the quack quack there, here chick there, chick and where chick chick. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Now you know MacDonald's farm. E-I-E-I-O. Guitar here, the bass fiddle there, neigh here, the oink oink there, quack quack here, the quack quack there, chick chick here, the chick chick there. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I, old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a, old MacDonald, whoa, 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 Mac, Mac.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really fine. Now, who is our first contestant, Mr. Roberts?
Our first contestant this evening, Mr. Howard, is a young man now coming to the microphone. His name is Bill McGarry.
Bill McGarry. How do you do, Mr. McGarry? How do you feel this evening?
Very good, sir.
Well, that's good. We're very glad to hear that. Where do you live? Would you care to tell us?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, Kansas City, Missouri. What do you think of that?
Kansas City, Missouri. Well, pick up that heel and call me B.O. President.
All right.
I used to work in that town.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was a locksmith in a medical school.
You were a locksmith in a medical school?
I made skeleton keys.
I wouldn't make any bones about it if I were you.
All right. Will you please stop? You'll get our guests rattled here. Now, cut it out. We have a guest there. Pay no attention to them, Mr. McGarry. Are they annoying you?
No, sir, not a
Well,
bit.
they are me. What do you happen to be doing here in New York?
Visiting.
Oh, you're visiting. On a visit? How do you like New York?
Fine city.
Have you been here before?
First time.
Oh, that's marvelous. I see. What business are you in?
Well, none at the present. Just.
Oh, you're not doing anything.
sightseeing.
That's a nice business. Are you married?
No, sir.
You're not married.
That's a good business, too.
Never mind.
Are you married, Mr. Shelton?
No, I went out of business long ago.
All right. I was going to ask you if your wife was with you this evening, being not married. She is not. I know that much. You see, I pick up things quick that way.
You know, Mr. Howard, I never go out with my wife.
You never go out with your wife?
No, my mother always told me never to go out with a married woman.
Ain't that fair? Well, Mr. McGarry, we are sure very glad to have you with us tonight.
We certainly are. What's your first name, honey?
Bill.
What?
Bill.
Bill.
Bill. That's a cute name. I just say you're from Kansas City. That's my hometown, too.
Yeah, now he's
you know the
ashamed of
mule
himself.
box with all those cute little guys out there? Oh, you're a cute little button. Hey, look. Hey, look at me, honey. You know, I'm just as hard to get as you are now. But you are cute. I just love you. I'll see you after the show for a little while. Just wait a second. I'll see you. But you can just call me Flashlight. I'm handy in dark corners.
Yeah, but your battery is worn out. Phil, if you will, you can do us a favor by reaching into Johnny's hat there and picking out a question for us, please. And when you get one, would you be good enough to read the question?
In what state is my old Kentucky home?
Very good. Very good for a fella from Kansas. In what state is my old Kentucky home?
Mr. Howard, I hate to appear dumb, but I didn't quite understand the question. Would you mind repeating it?
I'll be happy to. In what state is my old Kentucky home?
That's strange.
What's strange?
That's exactly what I thought you said.
Mr. McNaughton, did you ever take a college course in stupidity?
Oh, no, Mr. Howard. I studied at home.
You studied at home. The question is, in what state is my old Kentucky home?
New Jersey, Mr. Howard.
How do you arrive at New Jersey?
Take the ferry.
I always go through the tube.
You always go through the tube?
Yep.
That must be a tight squeeze for you.
Well, you know, Mr. Howard, you can always use the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah, and you can take a train at Penn Station, too. That's what I do.
Look.
I don't like the ferry.
Yeah.
It makes me cross.
All right,
I just slipped that in.
please. Never mind. Please, my old Kentucky home is not in New Jersey.
I didn't know you had a home.
Where is your home, Mr. Howard?
Red Bank.
Well, ain't that in New Jersey, you dumb cluck?
Look, I'm not talking about my home. I'm talking about my old Kentucky home.
Oh, I see. You have a home in Kentucky, too.
How will you cut it out? Haven't you heard the song, My Old Kentucky Home? Stephen Foster wrote it.
Stephen Foster wrote My Old Kentucky Home.
That's right.
Did he get an answer?
Mr. McNaughton, why don't you put something away for a brainy day?
You know, horse racing is just like marriage. You never know what $2 will get you.
Yeah. Look, please, I'm not interested in horses.
Think of the horses that aren't interested in you.
Oh, boy, that was a fun one. Oh, that was a good one.
All right. Keep on laughing, Miss McConnell. Keep on laughing. There's so much of you having a good time.
Say, Miss McConnell, did you bet on many horses at the Derby?
Well, I put everything I had on one horse.
I see. You couldn't get everything you had on one horse.
You know, I rode in a race once, and would you know the horse I rode had a flat head?
A flat head?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you were facing in the right direction?
Yes. Good. And now, while we wait for our next contestant, I think it'll be nice to hear from Harry Salter and his orchestra. And a medley including Sioux City Sue, All Through the Day, and Onesie Tuesday.
Sue, City Sue.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you. That was very nice, Harry. Thank you a lot. Only trouble with your playing, Harry, is it sounds too much like music. Well, who is our next contestant, Ken?
Our next contestant, Mr. Howard, is a very lovely and charming young lady, Miss Elsie Hollick.
Oh, how do you do, Miss Hollis? From Long Island, I suppose. We're very glad to have you. How do you feel this evening?
Fine.
That's good. We are indeed very happy to have you with us.
Indeed, we are happy, yes. Are you happy to be with us, Miss?
All right, Miss McNaughton. I'll ask the questions.
Jolly nice, you know, lady to come and see us, you know.
Oh, all right.
Jolly
Please.
nice contestant.
Anything else you'd
We're
like?
having a jolly time, aren't we?
Yeah, well, listen, Miss McNaughton, I'll arrange for you to have a conversation with a contestant after the show is over.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
stick around. Pay no attention to him, miss. He's just a wolf in cheap clothing. Just pay no attention. How do you feel this evening, Miss Hollis?
Fine.
Where are you from, Miss Hollick? That is, where's your home?
Long Island City.
Long Island City, I see.
Well, that's too far for me. If you move a little
Never
closer-
mind, please. Cut it out. Mr. Sheldon, don't get familiar with our guest. I'm sorry for the interruption. What do you work at, Miss Hollis?
Right now I work for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company.
The Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, I see. Well, that's a good policy. What do you do in the insurance company?
Well, I work as a messenger.
Oh, a messenger. Interesting work, I suppose.
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Oh, you're not married. I see.
Oh, that's too bad.
Never mind. We'd like to spend a lot of time with you, Miss House. I'm sure it'd be very interesting, but we're getting a little rushed here. Would you reach into Johnny's cap and pick out a question for us, if you don't mind? And would you be kind enough to read the question? Just take your time and read it into the microphone.
Who wrote the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin?
Thank you. Who wrote the autobiography of Ben Franklin?
Oh, I think I like that question.
I'm glad you do.
Oh, rather, I like it very much. I just hope I like the answer as well.
I see. Mr. McNaughton, why don't you become a professional idiot?
What, and lose my amateur standing?
All right. Mrs. Sheldon, did you ever read about Benjamin Franklin?
Oh, sure. Isn't that the man who invented the steamboat?
No. That was Fulton. Fulton invented the steamboat.
Fulton. Oh, that's right. Fulton.
Fulton, yeah.
Fulton Lewis Jr.
Well,
Mr. Howard, did you say Benjamin Franklin?
that's right.
Isn't that the man who took people seriously when they told him to go fly a kite?
Very good. All right, if you want to put it that way. Now, who wrote his autobiography?
How should I know? I don't go around flying kites.
I see.
I'm prying into people's private affairs.
Uh-huh.
Where did he live, Mr. Howard?
Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
The sisters ain't bad over there either.
It was in Philadelphia that the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Yeah.
How do you know?
She held the blotter.
I did not. I was playing bridge with Betsy Ross that night. I get around, don't I?
You certainly do.
Rome and Philadelphia.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Howard, the Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia, too, isn't it?
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, I saw the Liberty Bell. When I saw it, there were two bells there.
Two bells,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And both of them are cracked. The question is about Ben Franklin.
Ah, Benjamin Franklin, a great man, Franklin. I wish I were like Franklin or Washington.
Yeah, I wish you were with Franklin or Washington right now. Now, let's get on with the question.
What was the question?
Miss McCall, why don't you hang a vacancy sign on your forehead?
That's a good question. Who said that is?
Wait a minute, please. That's not the question. I'm talking about Benjamin Franklin's autobiography.
Don't be silly. They didn't have autobiographies in those days. They rode horses.
They rode horses.
Yeah, speaking about horses, I was at the Kentucky Derby last week, and
Miss McConnell, you said that before. You're repeating.
I am? Must be something I ate.
Will you please try and answer the question? Answer the question before we get into a muddle?
Oh, a muddle. Oh, isn't that what football players get into?
No, that's huddle.
Oh.
You're right, Mr. Howard. A huddle is when two people in love bill and coo.
That's cuddle.
No. Cuddle is a pool of water.
That's cuddle.
Don't be silly. A puddle is a dog.
Wait a minute. That's a dog. That's a poodle. A poodle, a long-faced dog, big ears, bushy hair, punch you around the hips and ankles.
Now we're back to Miss McConnell again.
Maybe we got a new August. I like that. Let me sit down a minute. A stone got in my shoe. Don't commence your cussing. I ain't done nothing to you. Yes, I'm a blacksmith, Captain. What of it? And a good one, too. Me and my wife and Nellie was just 16. She was the prettiest creature the valley had ever seen. One day I saw some stranger, young, handsome, and tall. How did the ducks get into this thing? Down the chopsticks, that's where they started. Needs another nickel. That's terrible. All right. Now, here's our international baritone from Bedloe's Island to tell you what we mean when we say...
It pays to be ignorant, to be dumb, to be dense, to be ignorant. It pays.
For the record, that's all. Be with us again next week and hear it proven again by Tom Howard, Lulu McConnell, George Shelton, and Harry McNaughton that it pays to be ignorant. Ken Roberts speaking. This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.